I like Trevor and he looks like LeBron James. I want him to teach me a thing or two.
Robert Collins, author of Greater Thoughts, is also a motivational speaker and a mind coach, helping you to untrap your mind. In order to elevate your team, your organization, or your business, visit Robert Collins on theuntrappedmind.com or follow him on Instagram at Greater7Thoughts. That's greater, the number 7 thoughts. Robert Collins says, all success starts with a thought. Now turn that thought into action and go be great.
Good morning. Good morning. It is your host, Mr. RC. You know what it is. It's Thursday morning. You just tuned into the Greater Thoughts Morning Show. Today, I have a wonderful guest. He's not even really going to be a guest today. He's going to be kind of like a co-host guest because I'm well acquainted with him, but over the years, I've seen this young man grow, astronomically. I can't even I need to start speaking like Keith Murray. The most beautifulest thing in this world is just like that. But, your mythological, no, I ain't going to get into it. But listen to me. The brother I've seen come from Louisiana by way of Alabama, and from there to the North Carolina area, and just go from one business to taking them to heights to another business where he is now at the top of the company. He is the first Black person to hold a very high level ranking position. And so let me tell you, his name is Miss Lorenzo Clark. Zoe, I call him. My good brother. How are you, Zoe?
Man, I'm good. Super blessed. And man, you talking about a great introduction. Man, I appreciate that.
Well, I didn't do anything but tell the truth.
I appreciate that. Hey, listen, it ain't bragging if it's true.
It ain't bragging if it's true. That's the truth. Again, the truth. Man, Zoe, I want to tell the people about you, and I want you to help me tell a story about your life and where you come from. As I paint that picture, we'll paint it together. We'll be in tandem with the brush.
Sounds good.
And I want to just, take today and just chop it up with my boy. It's been a while since we've seen each other.
It has been.
And I was thinking about just interviewing you. Like, let me just go in and interview Zoe like I don't know him. But I feel like, with the level of our relationship and the years that we've known each other, and, I feel like it'd be much better to just talk together.
Just have a conversation.
Have a conversation.
Yes.
Yes. We'll converse.
Absolutely.
Not conversate. Because there's folks that don't like that word.
Right.
Conversate.
Yeah, right. Conversate. Let's converse.
Yes. So, Zoe, what part of Alabama are you from?
So I'm from, it's right outside of Birmingham. It's called Bessemer, Alabama. And claim to fame is pretty much Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson is
Bo don't know diddly.
Yeah, Bo don't know diddly. I mean, that the legends that people hear about is true. Like Bo was the man from an early age. And so there's a great documentary on ESPN about him. And it kind of talks about the legend of him. And that's just, it's rooted in Bessemer's history, and so that's where I'm from. And we started, humble beginnings, financially challenged, like a lot of us. But
I ain't gonna make you cry today because I know you're gonna get emotional.
Yeah,
but
well, you know how that goes.
Let's talk about your early upbringing.
Yeah.
And what kind of environment you came from, because today everybody, we're in his office. And so I decided to take Greater Thoughts on the road and come to his office. And his office is in a beautiful place. Yeah. And so we're gonna talk about the trials and tribulations that come along with, the blessings that you end up with. But people always see the end result. They don't understand the beginning.
Right. And
so if you will, share a little bit about it.
I would love to. So born to, my mother had me when she was 15 years old. And so we stayed with my grandmother. We were in projects, in the PJs, in Bessemer, in the bricks. And, it was like 560 square foot government housing, probably as big as this office in that front room right there. And it was 5 of us. my mom, me, my aunt, my grandmother, my grandfather, and you know, it, the thing about it is that I never really wanted for anything. I still had an Easter suit. You know how that goes.
That's right. That's right. Because you're gonna get an Easter suit. I don't care where it came from, but you're gonna get an Easter suit.
I had to get an Easter suit, and grandma put it on layaway, and took it 6 months to pay it off, but I still got it in time. And so still got Christmas presents and some little green army men.
Yeah, just sit on the table with the platform up under them, and you over there go.
Exactly.
Knowing that they can't do nothing.
Can't do nothing.
You knock them down with your other finger.
That was it right there.
Yes,
and so and it was the hood. And so everything else just came with it because that was my habitat. I didn't know anything any better. And then one year she got me a football, and
I was going there. So
and
come
so
on.
that sort of changed my future, my trajectory, because I ended up being good, at football.
Yes.
And then had the basketball, and I ended up being good at basketball. And so that kind of kept me out of trouble because you know how that goes. You can either take a couple of different paths.
That's right.
At that particular juncture in your life, and so I chose the sports path, and I was playing on the corner one day. We was playing, how we playing toss up football or something.
Yeah.
And a coach was driving by, and he was sort of doing recruiting for his little league team.
Mm-hmm.
And so me and this cat Eddie Bynum, he was like, "Look, I gotta have you two," And so he's like, "Where are your parents?" So I, took him and he talked to my grandmother because my mom went to the Army after high school, so she was over in Germany, and so I stayed with my grandmother, the whole time. And she was like, yeah, you can play, take, and
That's
so
right.
he had to take me to practice and bring me home, from school, and me and Eddie and a couple other kids, but he was willing to do it, and that just started on my journey, and just start playing sports, and of course, grandma didn't play about them grades, so hey, look, you don't get the grades, you don't play. I don't care how good you are.
That's where we are with our children too, right?
Yeah, there you go.
That's
And
right.
we passed that right on, and I wish more people would do it. And so, that kind of put me on that path. And then mom came back and she brought back my dad, which I call my dad. And I know nothing else but him because he's my dad. And they went to University of it's a technology school in Birmingham, and so they got associate degrees, and they got on with Texas Instruments, and then we moved out to Texas, to Dallas, and then that's when they started to ascend in their plight, and changing the generational path of and breaking that cycle within our family, because my grandmother was born into slavery.
Okay.
In Mississippi, and so that whole half of that plantation, they defected, and so they moved, and as far as they got west as far as they got east, is Birmingham for my grandmother's family.
Okay.
And so they decided to settle there.
Yeah.
And then that's how she ended up there. And so just my parents just changed that trajectory for us and for me and my brothers.
So then you played football and basketball in high school?
I played football and basketball in high school. The tough part was T.I. moved us around a lot.
Okay.
And so we jumped around and went to school in one school for 2 grades my junior and senior year. Every other year, we were moved.
So, in 1995, I graduated high school and I went down to Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I didn't know that I was there, but I was there with a young brother named Zoe.
Yeah.
That was getting ready to come up out of there.
Yeah.
So you were at Grambling.
I was at Grambling, G-Man, baby, G-Man. I'm a G-Man to the heart.
Last week I talked about Miss Bethune, and there's a whole college because of her, and I talked about others that went to HBCUs. So the alumni of HBCUs are always proud of what they've done and where they've come from.
Without a doubt.
That's right.
Without a doubt, we wear that flag. We fly that flag every day proudly.
That's right. Some of us fly a different flag on our license plates.
Right.
But,
there's a story. There's a story behind that.
So everybody, he's a Grambling alumni.
Right.
This man loves Alabama. I tease him about it all the time.
I roll tide. So born in Birmingham, like you had to choose your alliance quickly.
Yeah.
Or you end up in a fight in elementary school in the playground. Like you Auburn or you Bama. If you answer wrong, you got to knuckle up.
Yeah, yeah.
So the ones I went with, hey, we roll tide. So I had to go over the roll tide crew because we was thicker.
Okay, it was more protection over
exactly. It's like being
right.
at the yard,
That's
the
right.
real yard.
Yeah, yeah. That's right. That's right.
You know, and so Bear Bryant was there, and it was just the whole aura about it. So I was destined to go there, but at the time I love basketball.
Okay.
And so I wanted the opportunity to do both. And it was before everybody had the opportunity to do both. Julius Peppers and some of these other people that kind of broke that mold.
Right.
But back then, I couldn't understand that if I got a full ride for scholarship, but I cracked my leg in basketball, then they were going to get screwed. And I really didn't process that as a 17-year-old kid.
That's
So, it was one of those things where I was like, I kind of got dejected a little bit. Because, when you go to Bama and you talk to Gene Stallings, you talk to Lou Holtz at Notre Dame, you talk to George Perlis at Michigan State, and they're like, nah, I can't let you do that. And so my uncle said, you need to go talk to Eddie Robinson. He's been calling.
So listen.
I was like, hey, look.
The late, great Eddie Robb.
Yes, sir.
So if you will, just take a moment. What was it like playing for Coach Eddie Robb?
Man, I tell you what.
Because there was nothing greater than the way campus looked for the 400 win.
Oh, my goodness.
There was nothing greater than that.
There's nothing greater than that. I mean, just the way he was celebrated finally, it was phenomenal. For me, it was long overdue. Even when they named the stadium after him, I was able to get back for the stadium naming. And it's just the love that he has earned over that 57 years he coached. It was just ridiculous, man. And here's the impact he made on me, Rob. Friday nights, you're in college, people go out.
Oh, we used to be at the Union, and at the Grant, you go to Tiger House.
Oh yeah,
yeah. People go straight on out.
So me and a couple other partners, we go over there for about an hour, and after that, we was at Coach Rob's. Because we come back, Miss Rob be like, hey, y'all hungry? Yes, ma'am. She'd cook us up something, and we sit down and break bread with them, and we sit there and talk to Coach Rob for a couple hours.
Just gain that wisdom.
All the stuff that he used to tell us, because on my recruiting trip, I asked him those questions, like, what was it like to coach in the 50s and 60s and, down south? And he's like, man, it was tough, being just going from game to game and just getting pulled over 3, 4, 5 times on one trip. And having everybody get off the bus, and everybody, they taking all your stuff out the bus, and they, going through everything, and then they don't put it back. It's up to you to put it back.
That's right.
They do all that stuff, and okay, you're fine. And then they take off, and now you stuck there an hour and a half in the middle of the night trying to put all your stuff back to load the bus back up and settle everybody down and get back on the bus and finish your trip and play a game.
Zoe, you describing that is so surreal. And we watch movies, right? And we watch movies, and it's typically a movie about somebody that's not real.
Right.
And it's a story.
Right.
But it's a whole nother thing to have met him myself, right? Being at the school. But for you to have that personal relationship and for him to actually tell you the story of his own personal life, and for you to, I could see the whole thing while you were saying it.
Oh yeah.
And to understand that from a different level it's amazing to be able to have those conversations.
Yeah, those are some of the most inspirational conversations I've ever had, and I carry those with me all the time. Like some of the wisdom and the knowledge that he drops on us during those conversations. I think those are contributors to the man that I am today, and the husband that I am today, and the brothers that I am today, and the father that I am today.
How many children you have, Saul?
Uno. That's it.
Yes, sorry. And how long you been married?
Oh man, it'll be 20 years this year.
So you're about to have a big dub?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Congratulations.
I appreciate you.
And I'm at 11.
Oh, yeah, 11.
Yeah, 11. I'm still in your
double
bad.
digits.
In your bad, I'm still early in it, but I'm still on double digits.
You double digits, though.
Man, let me tell you something. A lot of folks don't make it.
A lot of people don't make it, man. 3.5 years, that's the average. which is crazy.
And then the rate is over 50%.
Right.
Man.
Yep.
So you talk about that trial that Coach Eddie Robb had. You know, those trials and tribulations are things that we all come upon. Mm-hmm. And so I want you to share, if you will, how you went through the time frame of going from college into your career.
Yeah.
You know, and we'll jump over a little bit, but you were at Red Ventures, which was let's say 15 years ago, mm-hmm. which was the fastest growing company, not only in the city of Charlotte, but one of the fastest growing companies in the country.
Yeah.
How was that transition for you?
Yeah, I think I was very fortunate that a lot of the attributes that made me successful in sports are the same attributes that made me successful in business. You know, not just only the competitive nature portion and fighting through adversity and you know, having an attitude to where you always wanted to win every single day. All of those things transitioned with me from sports into business. And so I was fortunate from that perspective, and I was fortunate to be able to be connected with, you know, a company like Red Ventures who really poured into me, you know, to be able to have an opportunity to go to the Harvard Business School, to be Six Sigma trained, to really advance your mind and your thinking into more strategy and how you enforce a vision and how you cascade that vision and have it matriculate throughout the entire organization. Like all of those things were culminated in those learnings that I was able to get because of it. And so I'm super thankful, you know, to RV for allowing me to grow and develop my leadership and my skill set during the time that I had there.
I want to say this, you know, my boys, and you know this, y'all all get on me a little bit about, you know, if Rob give you credit, you must have really deserved it.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
I'm not just handing out credit.
That's right.
But there's a few things that I've learned from you and watching you and being, you know, a friend of yours. You know, I call you my friend.
Absolutely, 100%.
And one of the things is, so for those of you that know, some of you do, I play ball about 4 days a week. At 6 a.m. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and then 7 a.m. on Sundays. When most people aren't willing to get out the bed, I'm on the court, right? Mm-hmm. And for many years, Zoe was on the court with me, whether on my side or against me.
That's right.
But, you know, I'm going to say this. A lot of times when it's not money on the line, because that's probably the best way for me to put this. Mm-hmm. When there's not money on the line, you play to the competition. Mm-hmm. And when the competition's not that good, you don't play that well. Mm-hmm. When the competition is you know at a new level, you turn every bit of your game up.
Right.
One thing you said to me years and years and years ago, Zoe, was, Rob, you got to stop playing to the competition. Mm-hmm. I'm like, man, I don't want to go out here and, you know, do all these things against him.
Right.
You said, why? I said, for what? We all know I could take advantage of it, so why? He said, that's the whole point. We don't want you on the team for you to not take advantage of it.
There you go.
Take full advantage of it. Yep. What you said to me, I want to bust his head.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. If you step on that court, you got to get it.
You shouldn't have came in front of me.
There you go.
The other team knew you couldn't stick me, so why you put him over here in front of me?
So now you got to deal with the consequences.
So now go make him deal with the consequences.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you, I you know, some things, that's good. Some things you do, and if you don't make them habit, they only become something you do for the moment.
Right.
They don't be a part of your routine because you only did them for a short period of time.
That's right. Well,
here lately, I've gone back into that mindset because it never left me.
Yeah.
I just wasn't tapping into it.
Right.
And so lately I've been, they said today, Rob played with some type of new type of energy.
Oh, yeah.
He moved better today than he done moved in the last year. I don't know what got into Rob today. But you taught me that. You know, don't put somebody over here on me.
That's right.
That, you know, can't hold me.
That's right.
Don't play down to him.
Yep.
Always play up above the level of competition.
Play to your full potential every single time you step on that court. regardless of who's out there.
And so with my book, Greater Thoughts, we're going to throw that in there.
Oh, yeah.
That is one of the things that I teach is to, reframe your mindset so that when the negative comes in, you allow it to flow, but then you say, that's not who I am.
Right.
And, I'm greater than this. I'm created by the Most High.
Yeah.
I am able to do all things because of the spirit that's within me.
That's right.
And then reframe that thought and go out there and get it,
Right.
But I must say, because when I first moved to Charlotte, I won't act like I was Mr. Basketball.
Yeah.
I still ain't Mr. Basketball, but in my mind, I be Mr. Basketball
right.
sometimes, right?
Right.
Hey, don't let me get hot. I might drop 4 or 5 threes.
Oh,
in a
yeah,
row
I've seen it.
And then go to the hole a couple times because I really ain't trying to go to the hole at 47 years old no more.
Right.
I went to the hole a few times a day, but I didn't shoot much. Y'all used to tell me, Rob, you need to shoot more.
You shoot more. That's right.
Take your cuts.
That's right.
And so those things, those little incremental conversations will build your confidence.
They will.
And speaking of building confidence, I want you to talk about you building your confidence through audiobooks.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that.
Yeah. We had a conversation some while back, about how we spend our time. I think that's how we kind of framed it up. And, some of those conversations that we had, like after we would play and I didn't have a meeting or you didn't have a meeting and we just hung out afterwards, still sit with me, and I want to thank you for that.
Thank you, brother.
And so I remember we were talking about what do you do, and I was like, when I'm riding in, sometimes I want to thug it out, and just listen to, some Kendrick or something. But most of the time I listen to audiobooks because it's about growth and development for me. And I'm at a point right now where, and have been ever since I could remember, is I'm always looking to grow and learn from teachings of others, whether it's through an audiobook, whether it's through a conversation. I've been very fortunate in my life to have a lot of great conversations with people who have ascended to heights way beyond where I envisioned that anybody could be. But I'm always looking to grow and learn. And so listening to audiobooks, coming into the gym or when I have to go into the office, then I can go through a book in like 2-3 days, going to work, coming from work. If I'm sitting in traffic on freaking 485, I might as well be listening to something I can grow and learn from, and so, and sometimes, you just want to decompress too. So you might want to throw on some Saturday because you had a hard day, so
That's right.
Bottom line is, you control that, what you want to listen to and when you do, but probably 85% of the time I listen to audiobooks.
So I picked that up from you as well. Yeah. At the time I was working for Enterprise and I was selling cars, but I was selling cars everywhere.
Yeah.
There were times when I was going on trips to Virginia, going on trips to Maryland to deliver cars, and Charleston, South Carolina, just Tennessee, like anywhere. Hey, if they needed a car, I could sell it to them. I had no problem with taking it to you too.
Right.
And we get paid, so hey, why not?
Right.
But while I'm on the road, I listen to an audiobook.
Yep.
And I picked that up from you because I was not an audiobook person, right?
Yep.
Really, I wasn't just being totally honest with the world. I wasn't a big reader.
Yeah.
I'm great with conversation and I'm great with paying attention to gather the wisdom, but I wasn't really into the books and reading and things. You know what they say? You want to have something, put it in the book.
Right.
But I was going to get your knowledge after you read the book.
Right.
But I did pick that up. And during that time is when you left Red Ventures and started your own business. How tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So fantasy sports management. So we a friend of mine and I, we play fantasy sports, and it was a situation where he was in the championship and he had, I want to say like 4 different teams, and he missed changing someone. And so he lost like $800 in the championship. And so the thought was, hey, you know what if it was one platform where you could aggregate all the functionality across the providers and you can make your changes with that one provider. And then that way you wouldn't miss anything. And so it was daunting because you had to get ESPN involved and CBS involved and the NFL involved and all these major entities involved. But, it was a situation where he was like, we can't do that. And I was like, why not? Why not?
That's right.
And it sat in on him. And so he was like, you know what? I'm with you. It's monumental, but we can do it. If we can't do it, then someone else is going to do it, and then that's when it's really going to sting.
Then it's going to sting.
You
That's
know?
right.
And so it took us, a year and a half, almost 2 years, but we got it up and running, and things were going well. And then of course, COVID came down, and two things happened. One is COVID, and the other one was the carve out for the for sports wagering in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had taken the platform down so we could build to monetize the sports wagering when it comes back up. It's those managed by states.
Right.
And then during that time frame, a team, European football team in Bundesliga, approached us about purchasing the platform because they wanted to use that platform for European football.
Okay.
And so we hashed out a deal, and we sold it to them, and we transitioned, and it's on to the next.
There it is. And so now that we're on to the next, we only have 5 minutes left in our wonderful conversation today.
Yeah.
But let's talk about who and what. What? Tell us what your position is now, Zoe.
Okay.
What do you do right now?
So I'm head of sales for a company called Kinetic, and we are the 5th largest telco in the country. And it's been a rewarding journey.
Yes,
it's been
sir.
a rewarding journey.
Now the company's been around how long?
Company's been around for 38 years.
38 years.
Yep.
And so go ahead. Let's see. I know you, and I know you're very humble.
Yeah.
But I'm about to take you out your humble spot for a second. What's your position, Zoe?
Yeah. So I'm the head of sales, and it's
No. You're the head of sales for what?
For the company.
Entire company, huh?
The entire company.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's for the entire company. Yeah. And it's humbling for a couple of different reasons. One is there's never been an African American to hold this title in office and for the company. But for me, I look at it as a platform to be able to show people that it is okay. It is okay to consider us. When you think about not even 5 years ago, how DEI sort of took over the United States of America after George Floyd, and what happened with George Floyd, with the social injustice movement and all those things. And today, with this administration, DEI is almost like a curse word. There's so much negativity around it.
That's
really
exactly
can't
the
say
way they
DEI
want to put it.
anymore,
That's right.
And so just how the shift in the climate, can change, just from an administration change. It's one of those things where I'm proud to be in this position because I want to be able to show people and be a shining example that it's okay to consider us and hire us for these type of roles, and officer roles and C-suite roles and things like that. So that's what keeps me going a lot. That and just having a great team.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
If you can give one piece of advice to the listener, anything, what would it be?
I would say always test your character, because life ebbs and flows for everybody and across the globe. But how you respond when the chips are down it's always a testament to your character, and you're always testing your character. So just, figure it out and respond positively, but just turn lemons into lemonade. My grandfather used to say that all the time, and I couldn't understand what he meant until I got older.
Yeah.
But I understand what he says. Life is always going to give you lemons, but you control if you turn it to lemonade or not.
That's right. That's right. Well, I got one more thing to tell you before we go.
What's that?
All success starts with a thought. Take those thoughts, turn them into action, and go be great. God bless. Thanks for me having you, Zoe.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for everything.
Tune in next Thursday. We'll have another wonderful episode for you here at Greater Thoughts Morning Show. See you soon.
In the silence of the night, when dark creeps in, I hear that whispering voice pulling me from within.